Hi there. I don't know what to do with myself. This is a little bit strange. All I feel like doing is this journaling. You know, I try to do other things and nothing feels right. And I wonder if I'm being self-indulgent. I mean, 2 videos a day is quite a bit. Although, you know, guys, it's what I do. This is where I have found my joy. Now, I have found my joy in journaling for a long time, but the privilege and the honor of being able to share that and feeling like you're lifting someone's heart maybe, and it's not that I'm doing that, but feeling like that might be the result of that sharing is it just adds immeasurably to the joy. It's fantastic. Um, and not having an occupation, you know, being medically retired, if you will, um, it's a great thing to have the freedom to do this. But this is, well, I'm just going to quit questioning it. You know what? You know what you were just a witness to there? That was mind. That was mind coming in to analyze and judge. And I'm usually, well, I'm not going to say what I'm usually. Um, Following your bliss is the thing, and that's what I really have been training myself to do. It started with just observing and getting that initial shock of seeing how mean I was to myself just all the time, all the self-talk going on in the background, how hard on me it was, and how that was just normal, you know, and everyone does it kind of a thing, and that's just how life is, that kind of stuff. It's all mental. And oh my gosh, it's hardly any time at all ago that I was there. Let me think. If I look back, when I first started observing, well, it could be done in the journals. And that's a really good thing because you have that record. And time and being correct and accurate about where and when something occurs in time isn't my strong suit. That being said, I'll say it's less than 2 years more than a year. So we're not talking some great big long development here. We're talking about a major change that basically has occurred lightning fast. And that's nothing compared to what it's going to be for you now, because things just keep accelerating and accelerating. And it's fun to contemplate time being on its way out. We have these evidences of things. Um, Hopefully, you can look at yourself and just look at your own personal growth and development over the last 2 or 3 years. And especially if you've done any journaling, go back to your journals 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and have a look, have a read, and see how that resonates with you now, especially now that you've learned about being in heart. Because when you're in heart and you read something or you contact or interact with something, it's different. You get an internal read on things that is just flawless compared to what mind can deliver. Mind can deliver all kinds of facts and things, and that's wonderful. And sometimes you need that support for an argument, or you have a purpose for that. And in that case, mind is flawless. But the kind of things I'm after, mind just doesn't deliver. And I know that because I've pursued mind. And I feel really good about this too, because I can tell you I'm well enough qualified in the arena of mind to set it aside and say, that's not the best tool. You know, as a matter of fact, that's the very thing that's most in your way. And it just feels good that life has led me through this very exact, circuitous pathway to my now. So that this is the marvel. If you look at anyone, any great thinker, anybody who ever came up with something wonderful, something original, and you're going to find it was a very precise combination of things that that person studied and pursued and experienced that resulted in them having a very particular, are you ready for this word? Perspective. Big word, important word, heavy word. I love it. It's vision, heart vision. And perspective is just almost everything. I'm finding more and more. It's the difference between all of us is perspective and how we're able to be flexible and to move our perspective around. And we can't do that until we back out of the mind. Because what happens within mind is that we get locked down into thoughts and beliefs, ideas and attitudes, and they become rigid. And so we lose our freedom. As we can step back from that, disidentify, because what that amounts to is you've identified with your mind and you think it's you, and that's why when somebody attacks an idea of yours, you take it personally because you feel like they attacked you because you have identified with the idea, with the thought, with the mind. And I don't mean to either to preach or to talk down to anybody. I just get excited sometimes, you know. The energy flowing through is so beautiful and so wonderful. Gee, it's been heavy, but now all of a sudden this isn't heaviness at all. Do you feel this, folks? And I just got through doing the second, is it still Solstice Day? Yes, it is. It's 10:23 p.m. Doing the second journal on the heaviness and the weightiness of the energy that I've been feeling. And obviously it's morphing, transitioning, and changing here. Maybe I am assimilating some of that light that has been delivered. I'd say over the last 24-hour period, we all got such a massive dose of, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, to say light is insufficient, but blessing, I guess. I don't know. Energy. Energy charged and qualified in a certain way, designed to bring about blessing. Only it's so weighty and so massive, and it came in so all at once. I think a lot of it came in the midst of the lunar eclipse. But solstice was actually, the precise moment of solstice was a number of hours later in this same day. And so it's been a monumental day. I suspect this might be a day that we will look back to and say, aha, just like the harmonic convergence in different times when there was such a shift, such a change in the energy. And I don't know what it is that we've received that I'm assimilating now and working through here. But there's one thing that's without a doubt, and that's that it's blessing, that it's good. It's magnificent. So look in your heart and see the gift that's been delivered there. Maybe even take a few moments and journal a bit about it. Just start out with how you feel and just what comes up. What comes to your mind? Just start saying what comes to your mind. As long as you're anchored, that's the trick, see? Anchor in heart first. And by that, I mean, just put your awareness, your attention right in the center of your chest. You see where my little necklace falls here, which is, you know, the thymus is about there. Just kind of in the center of the chest area. It's maybe a little north of the heart, you know, and south of the throat, kind of in the center of the chest. I recently heard somebody saying that you should center at the base of the sternum. And until then, I hadn't realized that I do have a better idea of where I'm centering, because I knew that wasn't right. I knew that that was too low, you know. And I actually heard somebody else say, Patricia Cota Robles, I think might be how she says her last name. It's hyphenated. She was saying that the I am presence and God itself is centered in the throat. And I thought, well, I'm not centering there, you know, that's too high for what I'm calling heart. But I still have to admit, I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? This is just me sharing with you my feelings and my sensings. And understanding comes when it will. Until I read where someone was insistent on the base of the sternum being the spot. Until that moment, I didn't realize I had such a good sense of where in the anatomy that I'm referring to. And so if the mind was to look at this and evaluate how I come into these understandings, the mind would say, well, she stumbles and bumbles into them. Because from the mind's nice, neat, orderly, linear perspective, that's rather what it looks like. It's not that. It's not like that. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels so wonderful. It's a new freedom. You have such peace and such release from, you hear me moaning and groaning sometimes about the weight and the pain and the challenge and the difficulty. Don't let that be overemphasized. Don't think that I go around suffering. I don't suffer at all. Okay? I separate out pain from suffering. Pain is like, it's kind of a necessary aspect of 3D. There's pleasure and there's pain, and that's the, you know, the seesaw that is one thing. And the best spot, of course, is the balance point right in the middle, where you're, you know, you can manipulate both sides. You can handle both sides. But pain is necessary, and it's nothing to run away from. Suffering is what we do when the mind gets involved with pain. The mind amps it up, you know. And we do know that there are things that vampirize our energy, that come in, and they want us in lower frequencies and vibrations, like pain and anguish and anxiety and depression and anger and rage and all that stuff. Those are at such a low frequency that there are entities who have been who have cut themselves off from the light just based on the path that they have walked, has resulted in them not having any more the direct contact to light like we have. From your heart going straight up and out through your crown chakra, you have a direct tie-in to higher dimensions and to light. It's invisible to physical eyes, but it's there. And you can feel energy flow over that. And so we have this direct tie, and we are fed, so to speak, a light energy over that. They say that every year on the anniversary of your birth, on your birthday, right at the precise time that your body was born into the world, you receive from the higher dimensions, you receive like a globe, a sphere, a quantity of an energy of light. And it's the blessing for the year, and it settles down into your heart. And it's there to be accessed throughout the year to help you through the challenges, because also precisely at that time, there's like a key that goes in and turns, and it unlocks the challenges that are up for that year. You can't work on something that isn't up, that isn't current with you. Our now is very precise. But there are these anniversary kind of things that happen, and that's why you can have a sacred calendar like the Aztec calendar or the Mayan calendar, because there are sacred cycles that form a part of our now. And it's funny how staying in now, you would think, well, you wouldn't be looking anywhere outside of now. So why would you be charting things that are thousands of years long and all of these cycles and things? And yet that's the two sides of the coin. And we have to be in heart to really see, perceive, and understand this. In heart, your life is experiential. In mind, we're stuck on the outside of things. We're stuck on the surface of life because mind is very much attached to time, space, and 3D. And so when it learns things, it learns them from the outside. It learns about things. And that's why we memorize, and we learn the presidents, and we learn things this way. We learn about things. When we're learning about President Kennedy, we're not getting the sense of what it's like to be Kennedy. We're not getting an inner understanding of who and what the man was, how he was put together, and the stream of his soul. We're learning about events in the life of this person. It's very superficial. Whereas our life and our experience from heart it's just very different from that. And we're on the inside of things when we're working from heart. Now, in a way, what I just gave you was kind of linear because I'm looking at a polarity, at a duality, inside versus outside. I don't know. Maybe it can be talked about in terms of dimensions. I know that a lot of us these days are not stuck to 3D. I know a lot of us spend a lot of time in higher dimensions than that. I can't define for you what 4D is. I've heard people say that, well, that's time. And that doesn't, I can't quite put that together personally because to me, time space is one thing. It's locked in together. So that makes that a little hard. But I know that I spend time in higher dimensions. I just know that I do. I'm just, the experience of it tells me that. It's just nothing like my previous life when I was in the mind, just like the huge bulk of humanity. Well, folks, let's start seeing in our own mind more and more of us waking up out of that. Just like one of my most recent journals that I posted, to unplug from the matrix, unplug from the mind. Let's start seeing more and more people. Let's quit accepting that the huge bulk of humanity is stuck in the mind. Because as we say that, as we think that, we feed that. Okay? So there are endless subtleties. I'm going to say that even as we reach the point of ascension, whenever that is, there are so many endless subtleties to language and to mind that we work with that we won't have cleaned them all up. But it's fun to spot them in self, most especially. But, a lot of times we can spot them in each other. The blessing and the benefit there is not to try to correct it in the mirror. That other person is your mirror image. And you seeing that there is telling you you have that in here. Okay? And so this is where you need to work on that looks like it's out there. Just like this whole situation where I have my nearest and dearest friend has just walked away from me for no apparent reason. And, one of the reasons I'm not suffering is even though I've been going through tremendous pain off and on, layers and levels and layers and levels. It seems like I work my way through one and I feel really good and I think maybe I've done it, but it's not too long and something else comes up and I realize, oh God, here's another level. Okay, let's get to it. I realize that what I'm looking at in my friend is my energy and I have to own it. And to the extent that I can own it, actually, I can get through this thing a whole lot faster. See, we keep ourselves stuck in a kind of purgatory because we've been taught not to own our own energy. We've been taught not to be responsible. And something a sovereign being is, above all, is responsible, you know? And so, but we've had our vision clouded and muddied up. And it's mind vision, so we've even got the wrong pair of glasses on in the first place. We need heart vision. And so that's coming along nicely, wouldn't you say? Come on, look at your life. You've got to admit that there's progress there. And if you can't see it, get to journaling. I challenge you. If you can't see that you're making progress, I challenge you to journal. Just write whatever, be in heart first. That's the only requirement. That, and that you get a flow of words going. That's it. That's it. Short, long, whatever. Just be sure you date it. Obviously, I put the time with mine. I don't get down to the seconds, so, you know, maybe I'm not anal with it. But I found tremendous benefit in the way I do things, and that's why I do them that way. And anytime you wonder about something that I do like that or anything, just ask me. You're not going to find me taking offense at you asking a question or even presenting a challenge. I enjoy challenges. Come on, I consider that all of my interactions with life are interactions with Source. That's divinity working with me. Even if the dog just crapped on the floor, there's a message in it. And I'm really interested in getting those messages. I have found that by staying in heart and living my life this way, that's the secret to plowing through things super fast. You know, heart isn't limited and restricted the way mind is by time or by time space. And so things don't last so long. And when we take responsibility and we realize, okay, that's my energy there. Yes, the dog still needs to be scolded and taken, you know, that needs to be dealt with. The dog played a part. He's got to deal with his part. But the thing is, I also want to deal with my part. And I want to look for what's underneath that, you know? Am I letting the dishes go too long and not dealing with them? What am I showing myself there? What's stuck in my energy? What's kind of dirty that needs some cleaning up? And so all the time, every moment, everything that's in our force field is talking to us, with us, communing with us. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is that absolutely everything in our force field is our mirror. And it's just mirroring us back to us. And so it takes the sting out of life. It is so awesomely empowering to look at life this way. I wish everybody could at least try heart vision on, you know, for short periods of time. Okay, you know, I mean, we're used to being in mind, that's a given, but heart is miraculous. And if you just give it a chance, sure, crap will start coming up for you, but it's with a purpose. Each piece of crap that shows up is very specifically what's in your now. It's what's up for you. It's got a message for you. If nothing else, it's just something you need to clear. You know, you need to surrender. It's an idea you need to look at and say, no, I reject that now. Maybe I used to think that way, but I don't anymore. And so everything that comes up is custom designed for you and for your now. And I hope too that this video was a blessing. It was for me. Good day.